Story 1. I would put $8 million into a Standard & Poor's 500 index fund and live off the dividends. With the remaining $2 million, I would buy my mother's house and retire her, purchase a home for my wife, and cover in vitro fertilization treatments in the hopes of starting a family. Story 2. Second home in Portugal and get a local lawyer there, clear my parents' debt, clear my debt, coast on a high-yield savings account and a job for the next 4 years. Story 3. Be quiet. Tell no one except my wife. Take a vacation. Be an anonymous benefactor to my friends and family. On my vacation, I would hire a lawyer and financial consultant. Allocate 75% in the S&P 500. Donate to autism research, the American Cancer Society, and veterans groups. I would quit my job and become a stay-at-home dad. My wife would likely quit too. Dedicate my life to my son the way I always wanted, as he has severe autism. Take him to the park every day. Story 4. Freaking right out at the mere concept of holding a slip of paper that's worth $10 million, assuming this is a lottery win. Seriously, from the time I find out I've won to the time I've turned it in at the lottery office, I would be a hot mess of anxiety. Story 5. Paying off my immediate debts and getting a new but unassuming vehicle. Consult with a financial planner, attorney, and accountant. Give some money to my dad and some to my sister. Fix the house I'm in, maybe build a new one. Fund a local art cooperative. Make art and music. Travel. Story 6. Paying off my mom's, my sister's, and my buddy's houses in full. Then buying one with some land. Then doing a whole lot less of anything for a good long while the bulk of what is left is invested. Story 7. Calculate how much I would have after taxes. Approximately $6.5 million. After that, buy a house, pay off debt, and put the rest in retirement accounts for my immediate family. Story 8. Hire an attorney and an investment advisor. I should be able to get, on average, $400,000 per year return on that money, which I will use for the rest of my days. I can do most anything for $400,000 per year, even yachting. Story 9. Quitting my job, paying off my father-in-law's house, setting my nephew up for college. Then, I'll move somewhere new and volunteer while I pursue my online education. I'll focus on my personal growth instead of my finances. Story 10. Is this pre-tax or post-tax? It makes a big difference. Give $1 million to my mom's retirement. Get shoulder and hip surgery. Buy a Prius C. Help pay for my friend's college tuition. Save and invest the rest. Keep on working, stealth millionaire. Story 11. Once the money has been claimed and is in my accounts, I would quit my job, sign up for the best private health insurance plan I can find, and then I would probably spend 6 to 12 months doing absolutely nothing. Just hanging out, playing video games, maybe working with a personal trainer, and just letting myself relax and settle down before making any big decisions. Story 12. 2 chicks at the same time, man. I think that if I were a millionaire, I could hook that up too because women are attracted to men with money. At least the kind of women that would double up on a guy like me. Story 13. Student loans, house payment. Get out of debt, see what I have left over and hope to invest. Probably upgrade mine and my wife's vehicle as they are 12 and 22 years old, respectively. Travel is very important to me, but I want to be financially well off through some kind of investment portfolio first. Story 14. Contact my tax person to make sure I actually keep track of it. Invest the rest to allow for a monthly income. Then my best friend forever will find himself without a mortgage. Story 15. I would put a roof over the head of every family member who did not have one, then put money away for kids' retirement and grandkids' school, then donate what is left. Well, I might buy us a new pickup because our current one is 24 years old. Story 16. Tell no one but my wife. Then create a trust. When all the legal work is done, I'm going to retire from my job citing health reasons. We won't move. We won't change our lifestyle, other than maybe to travel more. Set up trusts for the kids. Done. Story 17. Paying off all my debts and buying my parents a house. After that, I would probably travel the world, eat a lot of food, and maybe open a little cafe or something. Story 18. 1. Put the money into a high-interest bank account. Pay off all debts. Set up a recurring weekly allowance to a debit card. Calculate how much interest it earns per month and divide that by 4 to get the weekly allowed budget. Never tell anyone. Quit my job and start pursuing creative things like art, photography, game development, and creating YouTube videos. These activities could make money and keep the mind active. Budget for a trip every 3 to 6 months, separate from the weekly allowance to pay for the accommodation, flights, car hire, etc. This would be the only thing causing the money to decrease, as the allowance is living off the interest. Maybe buy another larger property on a large piece of land considered farmland, but still within a decent distance from civilization, about a 30-minute drive, and has good internet. Live in it and have the other property as a rental for another income stream since it's paid off. Story 19. Don't tell anyone except 2 lawyers. One in your hometown and one in a state without a state income tax. Have the second lawyer rent a cheap mobile home and sublet it to me. I move to it and set up a complete local identity. Phone, driver's license, voter registration, even a disposable mobile device. Then get some serious financial advice, including consulting more lawyers and tax accountants. Sign the back of the ticket and make 5 copies of it, front and back. If possible, and you have to show up, pick the worst day possible, like a Friday with a Monday holiday coming up. Rain and cold are your friends. It may be worth calling the lottery office to find out how long the processing takes. Go at the last minute to get things done. Do the lottery routine. Grab the check. Make sure the picture is worse than a mugshot. Disappear. The only lottery winner I met was at a convenience store in a fishing area that no one goes to accidentally. The only indicator of wealth was his Cadillac. Story 20. Finally, get the dental care I need. Get my residence professionally cleaned. Get lawyer help to keep my money from being stolen by scams, stalkers, taxes, etc. Pay any and all debts. If possible, invest in a sort of guaranteed perpetual rolling fund to give me an annual income of at least $444,000. Perhaps, if possible, quietly disappear and constantly travel around, doing good for others and myself. Story 21. Set up a personal trust, place it into that with a growth rate of 10 to 13% with a diversified portfolio, and then spend the rest of my life never being heard from again. Story 22. Invest and live off the interest. Move to a place I always wanted to live, a modest home with a nice kitchen. I don't like cars or material luxuries, but I would like to travel here and there. Story 23. I am going to the bank and putting the ticket into a safety deposit box. I would take a picture of it. After that is a series of calls to law firms and certified public accountants. Story 24. Buying and setting a moonshine still back up. Haven't run the liquor in a while. Started when I was 14. I've been dying to try to make some apple pie shine that runs out of the thumper a dirty brown. Story 25. At first, quietly plan on buying a house. Say I have to go work abroad for a while. Say the money is really good. Just go on a year-long holiday instead. Return and go live in the house I saved for. Say I put it all in the house. Story 26. Talking to a certified public accountant and an attorney. These days, 10 million won't last very long. Hell, if you go nuts buying nice houses and cars for yourself, your parents, and maybe your kids, you could go broke in 6 months. I have 3 kids who are all disabled. One will die young, somewhere in the range of 10 to 15 years from now. The other 2 will long outlive my wife and me. One of those is the type who could possibly end up a paranoid homeless shopping cart pusher. So I absolutely need to make arrangements to support them after I am gone. Then, I have a rather large extended family that I wish to avoid. Some of them are the sort to come out of the woodwork with their hands out if they knew I had big money. So I need to arrange things to protect my household from such folk. Only then could I go shopping. I want to get a Neoplan Jumbo Cruiser double-decker bendy bus, or a modern equivalent, and outfit it as a wheelchair-accessible recreational vehicle. I'd find one of the disability exoskeleton companies willing to adapt their product to a muscular dystrophy patient and buy one for my son. Stock the recreational vehicle with stainless steel manual and track tank tread wheelchairs for specific uses and then travel the continent. I want my kids to see the aurora borealis, the giant redwoods, see the whales off Nova Scotia, the Calgary Stampede, etc. Story 27. Give $2 million to charity, $5 million to my mom and dad to split, and I'll keep $3 million. I'd be happy and wealthy, assuming hypothetically I had no taxes due, which is a long shot. Story 28. Save it all up and tell no one. When I'm older, one day I'll just move to a different country and settle down in a small area with little to no people around. Just me and nature. Sounds great. Story 29. Buy land. Build my dream house, including suites for other people. Put mobile homes on the land, all to help out others. Open a 24/7 daycare and preschool so that there's childcare for night shift parents, a preschool program for parents who want just preschool, and a room for birthday parties, etc. Open a roller rink in my town. Travel. Retire. Finish all my projects. Do all my hobbies. Story 30. Pay off student loans. Pay off the house. Put away a chunk for my children's college fund. Quit my job. Take a long vacation. Find a part-time job I really like that doesn't require me to sacrifice a large part of myself every day. Buy a summer home somewhere nice. Coast. Story 31. Pay off all debts, including the mortgage. Set aside funds for all future education for my 3 kids. Set up trusts for my 3 kids. Invest in family. Get a new roof for the house. After that, probably not much will change, but I won't be struggling anymore. It's not like I can retire. Story 32. Paying off every debt that I have and finally being debt-free. I will probably buy a modest house shortly after outright, then invest the rest of the money in a high-return investment account and attempt to live off the interest. Story 33. Invest $5 million, save $4.9 million in a locked account that cannot be touched for at least 15 years, and put the last $100,000 in my personal account to be used as needed. Story 34. Pay off the rest of my debt, which is less than $10,000. Retire my father and figure out how to make more money from the capital so I can start helping people in meaningful ways. Story 35. First thing, paying off my house and debts so that I can actually sleep easy for a night. Then tomorrow we can meet with a financial planner and start doing the right things. Story 36. Buy a house with a lot of land, pay for a team of financial advisors, set up a trust for people who are going to try and hound me for money, and live comfortably for the rest of my life. Story 37. Quiet at first. I'll even report to my job for a short time, but spend the day getting in contact with an estate attorney, getting things drawn up, budgeting. Within a week, though I'm sure I'll be waiting on others for some legal and documentation things, I'll have most things I need to in life buttoned up. Story 38. Quitting my job. I do not even think I would be able to give them an honest 2 weeks. And I am almost certain I would give a nice little chunk to the folks I work with. They would likely have to rehire the entire office once I left because there would be nobody else working here. Story 39. In most large lotteries or jackpots, like Megabucks, which starts at 10 million in the United States, if you take the lump sum, it's actually the current value that would become 10 million in 25 or 30 years. So the payout is roughly half, or 5 million. Of that, federal taxes will reduce it to about 3 million, and then there are state taxes. A lot of people talk about retiring or putting 8 million in investments. Depending on your age, you might not be able to retire on 3 million, especially if you are paying off or buying homes, vehicles, and traveling without steady income. Story 40. Get a lawyer and financial advisor. Quit my job. Invest at least $8 to $9 million and live off dividends. Buy a nice piece of land and a house with a view away from people. Purchase a new truck. Put some money in a trust for retirement for both my kids, which they can't touch until they're at least 50. Catch up on all the books and comics I'm behind on, and work on building a nice Lego, hobby, and toy collection room to keep myself busy. Story 41. First of all, do not tell anyone. We would pay off the house, set up funds for retirement, and then establish a philanthropic organization to help people who need $5,000 to $10,000 to get out of a jam. We would provide them with free financial, investment, and tax consultations, whatever they need to get out of their situation and onto a path to self-sufficiency. Who needs a stadium with their name on it? There are so many ordinary people out there suffering. You could help a lot of them. Story 42. Paying off debt and taking a vacation. Italy and California, here I come. Then buying a cute house in a nice suburb. Investing the rest in mutual funds. Story 43. My best friend since I was young always worked very hard and had never gotten ahead. It's just the world we live in. I would show up at his place of employment and let them know he quits. Effective immediately. Story 44. Take 2 million in cash and split it up. Put that into discrete safety deposit boxes. So if someone manages to financially destroy you, you still have a reserve to live. Good idea or not? Story 45. Paying off my house and then putting the rest in a 5% interest account and traveling the world with my wife and dogs. Maybe I will finally be able to afford to have kids. Story 46. In the words of Todd Snyder, if I ever do get my money together, I'm going to take care of all of my friends. Buy an island, run a phone line, call them, tell them all to get fucked. That ought to take care of them. Story 47. 1. Clear my debt. House, both my husband's and my car, paid off entirely, about $300,000. Give $9 million to someone smarter than me to invest, leaving me with about $700,000. Give my boss the peace of my mind I've been holding inside with an iron grip for the last 9 years. Start researching better places to live. You better believe I'm getting out of Dodge. Keep the house as a rental but sell the cars when I'm ready to move. The $700,000 goes toward my property. Set myself an amount to live on and a threshold for investments. Once a year, I take all the money that exceeds that threshold and donate it. First, to my family to pay off their debts. Then it's going to animal rescues. Retire to a nice piece of forest land in the middle of nowhere and tend to my garden and write novels for the rest of my days.